How you doing, Officer Davis? Went Ford.
Hey, Mr. Ford, how are you, sir?
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Not too bad. Hey, I appreciate you calling me back.
No problem.
Hey, I might have just missed you today. What time did you? Are you at work right now?
Yeah, I'm on my way to work. Yeah.
What time did you leave your house?
Probably like a little bit of like an hour ago.
Oh, yeah, I probably just missed you. You ride with somebody else?
No, I walked. I'm at the Shell gas station at Dale Boulevard, so I'm about to call a lift to head to work.
Hey, so the reason I'm calling you is that I know in talking to Dorothy's family that you were in communication with Dorothy the day of the crash. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. I haven't spoken to Dorothy. Like we would have communication, like before the crash, but like the last time I spoke to her was like a good few days before the crash.
Okay, so I was told that you called her Uncle Earl, or got in contact with her Uncle Earl about the crash.
Yeah, I called his wife, and I guess she told him.
So how did you know about the crash?
That night, it happened. I'm sitting in my living room, like watching TV. Then I hear kids crying, and I know the kid's voice, so I looked out to see what was going on, and I hear like the kids crying, like, is my mom breathing? Is she dead? Blah blah blah, stuff like that. And then when I walked out to see what was going on, my neighbor called me down to ask if I could help out with the situation, and then she told me what happened.
So your neighbor would be who?
Uh, Tanisha, the one that had the kids.
Okay, her last name's Coleman.
Yes.
All right. So was the other party in the crash there when you went downstairs?
Yes, Moses, whatever his name is, they call him Moses, but
Yeah.
yes, he was there with his brother and his mother.
Okay. Did he say anything to you?
No, because of this, like, it's a complicated situation because Dorothy and the kids used to live with me,
Okay.
and then after she like stopped living with me, she met that dude, and me and him had some words with each other. So when they moved right in the next building, um, it was supposed to be like he doesn't know that I lived there.
Okay. So they lived with you in 20. I can't remember the first numbers. Did they move right next door into 30?
Yes,
Okay. So they lived in the next building over. So
yes.
so when Moses, but so you didn't have any contact with Moses the night of
Until
the
that,
crash.
no, I had contact with him, but he didn't know it was I. He didn't know I was Glenn.
Okay, so you went downstairs, but he didn't recognize you, or he didn't know who you
Yeah,
were.
he didn't. He doesn't know how I look.
Okay, so did he say anything to you when you went downstairs that night?
He asked like if I could take care of the kids.
And did he not say anything about where Dorothy was?
No, he said that he got T-boned and they're in the hospital, and I think he knew that Dorothy didn't make it, and nobody knew about the baby girl situation.
Okay. Did All right. So he didn't know who you
You
were.
could tell like the dude. No, he didn't know who I was,
Okay.
but the dude didn't have like no. He wasn't crying. He didn't have no signs of what did I do. He was just trying to get those kids out of his hair so he could go do what he needed to do.
So okay, but he doesn't live in that apartment. That apartment's just in her name, right?
Yes, exactly. But he was staying there,
Okay.
and I told the leasing company about that. When I found out that she lived right next to me, I told them that that dude lived there, and he's not supposed to. You know what I mean? He's not supposed to live there. But the leasing officers, like, they couldn't really do anything unless they kept on going over there and stuff like that, you know?
No, I get it. Now, you said you hadn't talked to her for a few days. Had she ever told you about her relationship with Moses at all?
Yes, all the time.
What did she say?
He was an abusive piece of shit.
Okay, did
Like,
she?
she, like, one time she was calling me and she was driving by herself, but Moses and the kids was in his truck behind her, and she's calling me crying like she doesn't know what to do. And I told her to call the cops. I told her to call the cops on plenty of occasions when it came to that dude. And I don't know, she never did. Like, I told her plenty of times, you need to call the cops. Because when she first met him, he was just stalking them because they was living at a hotel. And he was just stalking them. His daughter would call me and was like, hey, this guy keeps stalking us. And I told her to call the cops or tell your mom to call the cops.
Did she ever do that?
No, because not too long later, her daughter called me and talk about they're talking to each other. Like, they're talking, like he's involved with her now. And I called Dorothy right after that and, screaming at her, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry for my language.
No, you go. You talk. You be
yeah,
you.
like, what the fuck? Yeah, like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, this dude is no good. Like, he hasn't even known you for like a month, and he's taking your phone away. Like, I would text her, and he would act like Dorothy and text me back. Like she would have to sneak and talk to me. She had to put my name under a different person. Like, Dorothy has the habit of picking the wrong guys.
So, all right, let me back up just a little bit. You said she was living in a hotel when he started stalking her. The Motel 6?
Yeah.
The one there in Dumfries?
Yeah.
Do you know when this was?
Oh man, this is I would say a few months ago because she wasn't in the apartment that long. So right before she.
Glenn, hold on one second. I'm going to give you a time frame. You called the police on Dorothy at one point to say that she was in your apartment and you didn't want her there. That was like mid-December. So
yes.
Are we talking about before or after that?
That's after that.
Okay, so after December.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Dorothy, she's a nice-spirited person, but she just made the wrong decision. She didn't have a good upbringing, so she was a conflicted person.
Okay.
And I had her and her kids, because I've known Dorothy for years. I've known her before her youngest was even born.
Okay.
I met her in Ashburn when I lived in Ashburn. So
okay.
That's why I know of her and everything. And then we just got back into contact when she was living in Fort Washington. And then when it was time for her to move out of Fort Washington, I told her she could stay with me until she get herself on her feet.
Okay.
But I didn't know that, she had to bring all 5 kids and a dog and everything. So I'm like, okay. And it was just a complicated situation every day.
Okay.
But I never struck her. I never hit her. I respect women and everything. She's a good person, but when it comes to her decision, like, she's the reason why me and her husband got to words. Me and Moses got to words. Like, I was trying to tell her about these guys, but she doesn't listen. And I told her, like, if you don't get away from this dude, he's going to hurt you really bad or he's going to kill you.
Well, unfortunately, something bad did happen, which is why we're involved now. And I want to make sure that this guy clearly does not have the opportunity to do this again.
Yeah, and the dude has a history of that because he was going to go to court from his last relationship where he beat his girlfriend up so bad and everything.
So, when you were having these discussions with Dorothy, was this all verbal, or did you have text conversations about this also?
It was one verbal conversation because she had to sneak. Her and her daughter snuck and met me at my job, and when I was at my post in Rediston, and she drove all the way to Reston, and me and her daughter sat there and had a talk, and we was telling her about him.
Okay, hold on a second.
Telling
Which daughter?
Kylie.
Okay. So you and Kylie, this is when Kylie was living with her. So she brought Kylie up, and then you and Kylie both had this discussion about Moses?
Yeah, yes. We had a discussion about, and then she was like, he's not going to be around for long. He's not going to be around for. But it was just me and her daughter was just telling her because she tends to pick these guys over her kids, and I'm like, if you don't, you already lost one daughter, and she's in Florida, Ava, and you're going to lose Kylie because of the guys you picked. And we was there for like she was there for like 2 or 3 hours, and we was drilling in her head, this guy is bad news. This guy is bad news. He's going to either start here. Like, I already knew about the fact that you haven't even met him for a month, and this guy is taking your phones and telling where you can and cannot go.
So she told you that he was taking the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, one time I texted her, and he texted back acting as if it was her.
And how do you know it was him?
Because I know how she talks. I know that wasn't her.
Okay.
And then later on she confirmed it wasn't her.
Okay. Now, when you talked to her 4 days prior to the crash, was that on voice or text?
That was personal. She snuck out and was acting like she was walking the dog, and I came outside to meet her.
Okay, so that was in person.
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't hear from her at all the day of the crash?
No, I didn't hear from her at all. Cause
okay.
Like I said, like every communication we have, it would have to be through like, oh, she had to like email me and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if I have the emails.
If you have emails or texts where she describes the behavior, can you send them to me? And I'd also like to get
I'm gonna check now and see if I do. I don't know if I do or not.
I'd also like to have you fill out a statement about your conversations with her. Because Mr. Ford, I think you, like I said earlier, we want to make sure that we, in this case, cover all of our bases and make sure that we talk to everybody who's involved or knew anything about the relationship between these two. Because, I mean, you've already said it. He's not a nice guy. We need to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and that what he did to Dorothy.
There's a 7-Eleven up the street.
The one up at River Ridge.
The one that's where the apartment complex is like literally the next light down.
Yeah, the one up by the Burger King.
Yeah, talk to a guy named Toby. He would tell you the same thing.
Who's Toby?
He knew Dorothy, and he was telling her the same thing about Moses. He told her the same thing. Because that dude would drive like he was in a Fast and Furious movie all the time.
Okay. Did you ever see his driving?
No, I never see his driving, but just by what Miss Coleman and what Dorothy and Kylie would tell me, that he drives ridiculous.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's what I like to do, Mr. Ford. If you're around tomorrow, I'd like to stop by and have you write down a statement for me. Everything that you know about their relationship and what she told you about their relationship. And then if there's anything else, any other questions I have, to be able to ask you them. We're also trying to pinpoint which phone belongs to who. So I don't know if you could provide any clarity on that at all.
I don't know about the phones. Hers would have like that little. Hers would look like a girly phone and have like that little thing you can hold on the back of it.
The little pop socket thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last I seen her phone.
Okay. What time do you work tomorrow, sir?
I gotta be at work at 2 o'clock.
So if I come by in the morning, like a respectable time in the morning, could we talk then? Okay.
Yeah.
What time do you normally? What time would you leave to be at work at 2 o'clock?
I have to be out the house by 1:15.
Okay, so if I come by at 11 o'clock, be okay.
Yeah, you come earlier. You come earlier if you can, if you want.
Okay, I'll try to do that. I'm gonna back up a little bit to when you said they were staying at Motel 6.
All right.
Is there anybody at the Motel 6 that would have seen Moses' behavior there?
Probably the people that work there,
Okay.
because he would go to the hotel and sell whatever he has. He sells stuff out of his trunk of his car,
Like what?
like doctor's equipment type stuff. I'm not really sure, but like just little trinkets like hair products or doctor's equipment or some little shit that people hardly need. He would sell out the back of his truck.
Okay, let me, now that you brought it up, let me ask you. What did Moses do for a living other than that?
Nothing. His mom and dad are rich, so you know what I'm saying? If anything, if he needs help, he'll just go to mommy and daddy for their help.
So they support him, quote unquote.
Because his mother was there the day that he dropped the kids off, and all she was worried about was taking her son home. She got the kids. She's like, yeah, you're going to take the kids, right? Okay, I'm going to take Moses home.
So did they show no emotion at all about what had occurred?
I believe they knew what happened, but they didn't know that he was a nutcase and he caused all of it.
But they didn't show any emotion about
No,
Dorothy or the kids or
hell
anything.
no. He didn't show no emotion.
Okay.
None.
And mom either?
Mom, no. I mean, you have to tell she cared about the kids, but as far as Dorothy and Empress, nobody showed shit.
So I watched a Ring camera. There was somebody with a dog. Was that Dorothy's other son?
Like a little white boy.
Yeah, it looked like it, but it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Three kids. That's Javen, her son.
Okay, and then I saw, and you said Moses' brother and mom were there.
Yeah.
Is his mom like a smaller lady?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
They look like Middle Eastern.
Yeah, it was just really hard to tell from what I was watching. I couldn't tell anybody's features other than like Moses's to figure out who was who. Okay, so they brought the kids over clearly on his way from the hospital, but
Yeah.
didn't.
He left the hospital without even telling anybody.
How do you know that?
Because they told us what they said. Like
Mm.
he left without telling the doctors or anybody. He just left.
Okay.
He wasn't discharged at all.
He left out without. Okay, I know what you're saying. Okay. Well, in the meantime, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. If you could find either text messages or an email that described that you were discussing, can you send that to me?
Yeah, I got you.
I'll text you my email address. That way, if it's an email, you can just forward me the email.
Okay.
All right. Are you doing security work? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, be careful today.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And I will see you tomorrow morning. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. I appreciate the call.
No problem.
All right. Bye.